Stocks remain ranged ahead of a crucial inflation print in the US today. Cement and metals are the big gainers, even as financials drags. Cement makers are reported to have increased prices by 10 rupees to 30 rupees a bag in December. The move raises hopes of price stabilizing at higher levels, driving stocks up. Vishal Mega Mart 8,000 crore rupee IPO opens today, as does 3,000 crore rupee IPO offer for Sai Life Sciences and rupees 570 crore IPO for MobiKwik. Large share sales, private investors in Vishal Mega Mart and Sai Life Sciences are key features of the other offers. Sanjay Malhotra takes charge at the RBI today, with industry watchers expecting a more balanced approach from him on key policy matters like projecting financing as well as expected credit loss, given his experience in financial services. Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into CNBC-TV18. You're watching Business Lunch and I'm Vinny Motiwala. A quick look at the markets. Not much of an exciting day coming in. Quite a muted day. Range-bound trading session is what we're seeing coming in for the Nifty. As of now, only 0.1% of gain is what we're seeing for the Nifty 50. 24,640 rupees is 24,640 is the level of the Nifty 50 that we are keeping an eye out on. Other than that, the mid and the small cap, that's also holding on to some bit of a gain, almost in tandem with the benchmark indices that you're looking at it. So mid cap holding on to gains of 0.1%, small cap slight bit of a better performance there, 0.4% of gains coming in for the small cap space. Nifty Bank, today that's the underperformer coming in there. Not an exciting day for Nifty Bank, 0.2% of decline. Even if you look at Nifty PSUs, that is the top sectoral drag that is coming in. So clear pressure that is coming in on the banking side, the financial side. What is doing well, what is holding on to gains today is Nifty Metal as well as a Nifty FMCG. That's managing to see a strong up move in trade today, and top sectoral gainers amongst there. Railway stocks, those are buzzing in trade. Let's keep an eye on that. We have Jupiter Wagons, Titagarh Rail, RVNL, any of the railway stocks that you pick up. All of them are holding on to very, very good gains. Look at Jupiter Wagons, 11% gains. No specific reason as such that is there today, but all the railway stocks surely are something that we are watching out for in trade today. But let's get the show started and shift focus on the top story of the day. We have Sanjay Malhotra, who has taken charge as the 26th governor of the Reserve Bank of India. He will serve as RBI governor for the term of 3 years. Sanjay Malhotra appointment comes at a time when inflation is above RBI's comfort zone and growth is at a 21-month low. Now, as per brokerages, Malhotra is expected to build upon the stricter regulatory framework established during Shaktikanta Das's tenure. Meanwhile, Economic Affairs Secretary Ajay Seth will take additional charge of the Finance Ministry's Revenue Department. Also, stay tuned in for his first press conference later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Moving on, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman addressed the Global Economic Policy Forum earlier today, and she highlighted that inflation was a challenge that economies across the world were facing. Listen in to what more she had to say.
First of all, the attempt both of industry and governments everywhere should be to restore some global calm, restore some normalcy. No way can there be enough justifiable reason for skirmishes or war. Inflation globally is a big challenge, but inflation, as you know, doesn't respect borders. Inflation is so contagious that nowhere is any country's effort today is completely successful, because beyond its powers are inflation forces which come in. And therefore, the primary cause, I would think, is the disruption, the skirmish, the war, and as a result, world is facing a challenge.
And let's move on. Speaking of India's growth and RBI's rate cut trajectory, here are some of the opinions from global market veteran John Woods as well as, Gautam, as Gautam Chichauria of UBS, and what they had to say on this front.
Well, our sense of India in terms of rate cuts is obviously an inflation backdrop, and I would suggest growth running at quite a robust level. And clearly there is not a rate cut immediately necessary in that type of macro backdrop. I don't think that will change as we head into the next rates meeting. Again, the dollar is an important story, an important overlay, I guess, that we need to reflect on the INR. Actually, I think central banks around Asia generally are going to be looking at dollar strength as something of a risk relating to their own monetary policy.
Ultimately, its mandate is to look at CPI and keep it within the band. So within the mandate, I guess they were constrained. Growth inflation dynamic is always a challenge for central banks, including an RBI. And we have seen the last few quarters where growth has slowed down, but not necessarily inflation. But again, look, from our perspective, when we look at Indian equity markets, we talk to investors, there is discussion amongst investors that maybe RBI could have cut this time also, possibly. But everyone acknowledges the growth inflation challenge which RBI faces. Again, going ahead, what I would say for markets is not just what RBI does. I think there is broader consensus building about a Fed rate cut, including our economist view. But I think what will also drive markets from here on is what the central government does around the fiscal, around capex spending.
Okay, on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere because after the break, we'll get you highlights of an interesting conversation with Ramdev Agarwal and Bharti Airtel's Akhil Gupta from the Motilal Oswal Wealth Creation Study. Welcome back to Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. A quick look at what are the top pullers for the market, top contributors for the Nifty as of now. And, what we're seeing in terms of names, you have Infosys, Bajaj Finance, M&M, Shriram Finance are some of the top gainers and top pullers in terms of the market, in terms of contribution. When you look at it, Asian Paints also making some of the names there, as well as Ultratech Cement is something that we are watching out for. So, yes, market as of now range-bound, but some of these stocks are surely supporting them in terms of the move and not leading to a sharp fall in the market or an up move. As of now, a very range-bound trading session. But on that note, let's talk about a stock that has actually been under pressure today. It's down 3% in trade, almost 3%, and that is Swiggy. Swiggy had listed last month itself, but what is the reason that today the stock is falling? Mangalam is here and joining in with us to tell us those details. Mangalam.
Swiggy is under pressure in today's trading session. Remember, it was just a month ago on November 12th where Swiggy listed on the bourses. So as a result of which the 1 month lock-in period for a lot of shares were up until December 10th, making today, December 11th, these shares open for trade itself. So the lock-in on 6.5 crore shares, which is roughly 3% of the company's equity, opens today. And with this, nearly 12% of the company's equity is open for trade currently. Important date to watch out for would be, Jan 28th and Jan 30th on this account itself, where the next batch of shares open up for trade.
Okay, and let's move on to the primary market action. A flurry of IPOs open for subscription today. We have Vishal Mega Mart's 8,000 crore rupees IPO open for subscription today. The company has raised 2,400 crore rupees from anchor investors, and the IPO has been subscribed 0.2 times as of 1 p.m. We spoke to the management earlier today as well, and they say that the promoters, Samayat Services and Kedara Capital, remain long-term believers in the company. They expect to maintain the revenue growth and margin trajectory. Listen in.
Our revenue CAGR has been 26%. Our EBITDA CAGR has been 24.6%, and a PAT CAGR has been 50.9%. For the last financial year, our return on capital employed has been 71%. And just as a matter of record, in the last 3.5 years, we've generated free cash of around 3,000 crores. the conceptual approach has been that we will maintain the gross margins at current level.
Okay.
And therefore, we do not see EBITDA, etc., growing through pricing action. That's what we've done over the years. And if we have operating leverage, to that extent, it'll show up in the bottom line. They are very excited about our business. Their intention is to be long-term investors in the company. And I'm personally confident that they would not do anything which would cause any concern to any investors in any which way.
Okay, we have a lot of IPOs today. Now let's talk about the next one, that is TPG-backed firm that is Sai Life Sciences. A 3,000 crore rupee IPO is also open today for subscription and has received a tepid response so far. Now, management tells CNBC-TV18 that the growth profile is likely to stay strong over the next few years. Listen in to what more they have to say.
We have a lot of, we have a lot of new molecules that we have picked up over the last, 2 to 3 years. Our product portfolio is very young, and which just tells us that as these products kind of get to market and kind of grow, there is a lot of potential for our business and to grow. That's what we believe. Our belief is that margins going forward should improve, even further from where we are. Just given the fact that the pipeline is younger, commercial products are getting into larger volumes for our end customer, which would then mean larger manufacturing, which would mean more operating leverage in the business.
I think the growth profile is likely to stay strong for the next 5 to 10 years. And I just want to kind of point to the fact that our growth has come in pre even any shadow of biosecure.
Now, also the digital payment platform One MobiKwik Systems, a 572 crore rupees IPO opened today and has been fully subscribed. Earlier today, we spoke to Upasana Takku, who's the executive director and chairperson, as well as the CFO, Bipinpreet Singh, the MD and CEO of the company, for the plans post-IPO. Listen in.
You can see the company has scaled up substantially. Further, in our March 24 numbers, we have also given an EBITDA positive of 37 crores and a PAT of 14-15 crores. So the company has started generating cash and the company has scaled up. And this is why we decided to have an IPO for smaller size this time, because we have already scaled up substantially without raising that capital in the last 3 years.
MobiKwik last year has achieved 890 crores of scale, despite this capital working against us, and not just achieved that growth, but also became profitable, both at an EBITDA and PAT level, which none of our competitors, none of the peer set has ever done, even for a single quarter. MobiKwik has 2 businesses. One is the payments business, for which we have shown strong traction, strong growth last year, and in fact for the last 3 years, and even for the first quarter.
And let's move on. Motilal Oswal has identified bruised blue chips as the stocks to bet on. The annual wealth creation study authored by Ramdev Agarwal argues that blue chip stocks have declined 50% from their 5-year highs, are the best bets for high returns. Prashant Nair spoke to Ramdev Agarwal and a panel of experts on one such stock, that is Bharti Airtel, that has been able to turn around and hold fort despite despite a competitive landscape and entry of new players. Listen in.
As a growing company in 2002-03, at 25, they came out with public issue, I think, at about $45. And in 2003, January, they declared the break-even. And then at 24 rupees we bought, and the stock went to 1180 in next 2.5 years. I mean, 50x in like 2.5, 3 years. So that was the ride I had. And that's why I have been meeting Sunil and Akhilji off and on. But I was stunned to see the kind of capital management they did, in the sense that they went to Africa because they had so much of cash flow. They didn't know where to deploy. And so I don't know whether I would call it as a capital misallocation.
We did have a difficult time in Africa, but that was, I would say it was a growth market. But of course, some of the currency problems have been very severe, which we never anticipated. Nobody can actually. Not a terrible decision, but yes, some internal mistakes in terms of execution. We are back on track. So not a real bad capital allocation in 2010 when things were just phenomenal. We were making so much money that if we were not able to grow at that time, it would have been not good for the investors.
No, Bharti's done a phenomenal job of turning around things. They faced maximum pressure at a point of time. As an incumbent operator, whatever I have read and experienced, I don't think an incumbent has ever faced this kind of a pressure from a new entrant. Like it was like in basketball, you say full court pressure. It was that kind of pressure here, so. And they fought back and they came back, which was quite extraordinary here, so. And I think now they're here to stay, so. They fought it, and they fought it clearly on customer service, and and they brought down their cost to be able to operate at the structure at which the new person was operating.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to slip into a break. But as we slip into break, here's some good news for you, viewers. India's business news leader is now a click away. Introducing CNBC-TV18's all-new app. Get instant access to breaking news, in-depth articles and financial world updates at your fingertips. Download the CNBC-TV18 app now from the Apple Store or Google Play Store. Welcome back and thanks for staying tuned into Business Lunch on CNBC TV18. Moving on to some international updates now. The pressure continues to mount on the French President Emmanuel Macron after the president vowed to name a new prime minister within days after the French parliament ousted Michel Barnier in a non-confidence vote. Now, the French President Emmanuel Macron plans to name a new prime minister in 48 hours, according to the party chiefs that convened at the presidential residence to make a decision on France's political crisis. So far, no outcome has yet been made to free France from the current political deadlock. And moving on to another international update, police in South Korea have conducted a raid at the presidential office a week after the country's president attempted to impose martial law. The president has since apologized for his attempt to impose martial law in the country, but has turned down calls to step down. Remember, the president and his allies are currently facing insurrections charges, and travel ban has been placed against several of them. 2 police officers have been questioned for their role in the imposition of martial law. Okay, and with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business Lunch on CNBC TV18. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. You have Mid-Cap Radar up next.